is up, everybody? Jordan here with the Deck Box, coming back to you tonight with another tournament report from this past Saturday. I guess it's been about 5 days or so, but I figured I'd get this video out for you guys now. But real quick, before I hop into today's video, I want to just real quick say thank you to everyone that has checked out our channel. Things have really been going well, I would say, for the channel. We're consistently getting views. And what was kind of a big deal for me is once we started getting views on the channel without us having to post a video, people were actually searching for the channel and coming back to it. So I really, truly appreciate that. We've been consistently getting subscribers, and again, we really appreciate that. So, you know, keep spreading the word for us. Keep coming back for more content, and we'll keep putting it out for you. But yeah, so now that I'm done with my quick thank you, I'm gonna hop into my tournament report real quick. So I know I've been bombarding you guys with this list over and over and over, but you know, it's relevant right now, I think, and it's what I played for the tournament, so it's what I'm going to talk about real quick. So I'm not going to run through every single card of the list because I've hit it so many times. I can leave little pop-ups for you for the other videos. You can go check out the list, and then we can just move right into my actual report of things. So real quick, let me pull up my notes for this. There were two quick changes that I made right before the tournament started compared to when I played this at the League Challenge. So at this cup, it was last Saturday. What I did was I took out both of my Psychic Memories, literally like minutes before turning in my deck list, and I upped the Guzma count and the end count to 4. And the reason I did this was because we'd gotten there at a decent time. I was able to kind of look around the field and see what people were playing. And from what I saw from not only the top players, but also everyone else, was there was nothing that warranted me playing Psychic Memory. I didn't see any Buzzwole or anything like that. No Espeon. So it really didn't make sense to play the Psychic Memory. And I actually turned out to be right about that. So I'm very happy with that choice that I made last minute. And in one of my games, you'll see that the extra Guzma came in super clutch, and it was actually a super fun game, so I'll explain a little bit more about that. But yeah, I mean, like I said, it's pretty basic, same as before. One thing that I think I'm going to change, this is something that my friend Jackson has actually been telling me to do, but I've been ignoring him, is to cut the Scizor and add in a Dhelmise. And that would have changed so many of my matches, because instead of hitting 160 with a Choice Band of Celesteela, I'd be hitting 170 taking down Lele's, and that made such a huge difference in some of my games. So that is the one thing that I do regret about the list, would be to take out the Scizor and add in the Dhelmise. But other than that, I'm very happy with the changes I made of upping the Guzma, upping the end, just really going heavy consistency on it, and not worrying about that Psychic matchup, because like I said, there wasn't any. So yeah, so now I'm going to hop into my matches. So my first round, I played against Jay Young. A lot of you probably heard of him. And he was playing Metagross Solgaleo. Now, if you don't know a lot about this list, basically it's beef up 2 stage 2s and just destroy everything. And that is exactly what Jay did. The first game, I got way ahead. I had 2 prizes left, and then he managed to get stuff set up all at once. And Solgaleo hits for 250 every single, or 230, I don't remember what number it is exactly, but it just crushes everything that it sees, especially in this list. There's nothing that can take a hit against it. So Acerola got dumped pretty quickly because it didn't matter, and at that point it was just trying to poke at things just to shrink down the HP. But if you know, that deck plays 4 max potions, and he was using them at the right time. You know, he wasn't giving up the prizes, so finally scooped that one up whenever he got down to the same point I was at, and I saw there was nothing else I could do. And the second game pretty much went the exact same way. I got down to like 3 prizes pretty quickly, because I knew the only way I was going to beat that deck was by speeding through and trying to take out his Cosmogs before they could evolve. And whenever he plays it properly and gets 2 down at the same time, it makes it really difficult for me to catch back up and take those down. And once they become Solgaleos, there's really no stopping them. You can't Guzma stall anything because of the, what is it called? The Ultra Road, maybe? I might be butchering that, but basically he can make any Pokemon active. So pretty nasty ability paired with the huge attack. Really doesn't help things out. So round 1, I went 0-2, lost it. So I was really kind of bummed by it, but at the same time, actually, I wasn't even bummed by it because it was one of those things where I'm like, I know Jay is an awesome player, but on top of that, he's playing a deck that just crushes everything it sees. There wasn't anything I could do about it, so, it is what it is. Next game, played against a guy by the name of Tyler. I don't remember his last name. He's at a lot of our tournaments in the area, but he was playing a combo of Broken Vor with Sylveon, which I thought was really interesting, but he said it made sense and kind of worked for him or whatever. So obviously with me having the type advantage, it made me feel a lot more comfortable playing the list. He was not too happy to see me flip over Registeel to start the game. He was playing the Psychic Routes and Kirlia though, which was a smart change. I think a lot of Gardevoir lists are switching to the Psychic ones, which makes total sense. That way you can't take those easy knockouts. First game, it was pretty close actually. It was closer than it should have been. I think it came down to me having 2, him having 3, and then I got my last 2. And then the second game, I kind of felt bad for him. He started a Lele, and from there I had Registeel in the active. I wasn't going all out on setup or anything. I was just doing kind of, my normal thing. And Registeel takes out 1 Routes. So I was like, okay, cool, there's 1 down the drain. And then another Routes. And this was like 2-shotting them. He wasn't getting any cards. He was dead drawing hardcore. He's only laying down 1 at a time, so he couldn't even evolve them when he needed to. Then I took down his Remoraid. Then I took down another Routes. And then I finished things off by taking down his Lele. All 6 of those prizes were taken with Registeel. After the first couple knockouts, I obviously had Iron Hand built up, and the only reason I built it up was because I was like, well, he's having a slow start. If I get the 2 more energy on, even if he evolves into a Kirlia, I can one-shot it either way. So I might as well take the one-shot. Or even if he evolves into a Guardy, he takes down my Registeel, no big deal. I move on to something else. Or I attach Choice Band and one-shot it. So that was my thought process. Never got to that point. I was able to 2-shot the Lele to finish the game off and ended 6-0. And all 6 prizes were taken by Registeel. I could not believe it. He couldn't believe it. He wasn't super happy about it. He was cool about it, though. Didn't throw a fit or anything. But, I mean, it's pretty hard not to be salty over something like that. But it's also pretty hard not to be excited over something like that. So that was pretty neat to see. So I did go 2-0 on that. And the reason I was able to take the 6 prizes with Registeel, this is where Guzma comes into play. So at one point in the game, this was early on when I was taking down the Routes, because he kept trying to put Lele up there to stall because I hadn't gotten built up to Iron Hand yet. He was trying to put the Lele up to stall to protect his Routes. I had 2 Guzma in hand at one point. I draw for turn. It was a Guzma. So I immediately play it, making him think that, oh, I got off top deck. Boom. So he brings the Lele up. Next turn, lay down a Guzma. Next turn, lay down a Guzma. 3 Guzmas back to back. It may have been 4 actually, but I know I played 3 of them back to back to back, take those knockouts. So even if he had gotten set up eventually, I was just so far ahead that I had some stuff set up on my bench. Registeel was doing its thing, so there was really no stopping me at that point. So I would say a solid game or a solid round for me. Felt kind of bad for him, but life goes on. Next round, I played against a guy by the name of Yasmin. Hope I didn't butcher that. I didn't even try for his last name because it was it would have been tough for me. So he was playing Greninja, and that made me kind of nervous because with Greninja, this list can do okay against it if this list gets set up properly, and if theirs doesn't. But if theirs get set up properly, I could be completely screwed. They can shut down my abilities. They can knock me out really easily. So first game, he got a little set up, which is usually enough, but he didn't get set up fast enough. He only got his Greninjas up to Greninja, and it was only 1 at a time. So he wasn't 2 Greninjas. That way he has a backup in case one of them gets knocked out. It was Greninja, Frogadier. And Celesteela hits the perfect number against Greninja, 130. So I'm like, okay, Celesteela 130. And then next turn he couldn't, he promoted something in the active to stall or whatever. And I was able to Gizmo, or I forget exactly how I got it, but I was able to take out back-to-back Greninjas, kind of leaving him with nothing to do. I believe he scooped that game up. Then we moved into the second game, and he got super set up, did exactly what he needed to do. I think he got like 3 Greninja breaks at one point, and I ended up losing that one. And it wasn't even close. I was dead drawing like crazy, and he was just so set up. It was just like night and day, and he took advantage of that for sure. Third game, he was having a hard time getting set up. He finally got a Frogadier, but he had evolved his active Frogadier and his benched. He had evolved his active into a Frogadier and his bench into a Frogadier. I knocked out his active Frogadier before he could water duplicates for it. Then he brings the other one up, goes to water duplicates. He prized 2 Frogadier. So he goes, you know what? I scoop. That's game. And rightfully so. I mean, I think I had Celesteela up again. It would have taken it. So I ended up taking that one 2-1. So at this point, we are 2-1 for the tournament. And there are 5 rounds in this thing. So then moving on to one of our friends from League, Michael. And this was one that I had been testing against, but I wasn't doing great against it, and I knew that it wasn't the best matchup. It may be like a 50-50 shot, but he was playing Zoropod. I'm pretty sure it was towards list card for card. And let's see, first game was kind of close, but he beat me a couple prizes ahead. Second game was I was all the way down to 1 prize card left. That was it. 1 prize card. Just had to get something. But everything he had was a GX. And everything was taking 2 shots. And my Gizmos weren't sticking because he had Acerola and he had Gizmos. And it was just insane. And I just ran out of resources, couldn't do anything. And he ends up coming back. He was like 4 prizes behind. Ended up coming back and beat me because there's literally nothing I could do. So that one kind of stung a bit. To go 0-2 against that. I figured I'd get at least 1 win in or possibly tie on that. But, it's okay. Like I said, I knew it wasn't the best matchup for me. So at that point, I'm 2-2. Some people were thinking there was maybe a chance at top cut at that record, but most likely not, because they were thinking even one of the 3-1-1s would bubble. So people were obviously speculating that the whole time. And then moving into the last round, putting against another friend of mine, Matt, and he played the same list of Zoropod. And so I got down paired. I think he was 1-1-2. And we started off the game and it was going really well. It was kind of back and forth. But then I started to get ahead and it just kept going ahead. So I took game 1. Game 2 wasn't even close. It was kind of a blowout, and I took that one. So I went 2-0 against him and ended the tournament at 3-2. I did not make it in top 8. As I mentioned, there was one 3-1-1 that bubbled, and then right above me was, oh goodness, I forgot the names. But I know John Roberts was one of them. And here I have a picture of who else was above me. I have the sheets here. All right, so John Roberts and Jack Carter was 9th. He bubbled at 3-1-1. And then beneath him was John Roberts in 10th, and then myself in 11th. So, didn't make it into top 8, which is kind of a bummer. My friend that beat me with Zoropod actually made it into top 8, so congrats to him. But I'm still happy with it. I'm consistently now getting winning records at tournaments. What I mean by that is I'm winning more than I'm losing, which to me, that's kind of a success for me. Trying to work up my skill a little bit more, and not really my skill, but more of just knowing the right calls as far as decks go, and getting better at playing in tournaments, really. That's kind of my goal, and that's what I've been practicing for moving into Memphis, which, as we know, is, let's see, it's the 6th now, so they're 10 days. So I've obviously got to do a ton of testing for that. And the testing I have to do is to figure out what I'm going to play and then get good at what I'm going to play. But real quick, I'm going to play one game with this Metal Silvally just to show it to you guys who may have not seen those other videos. But I do encourage you to go back and watch those because the deck has changed substantially since I first put it up here. Mine started off not the greatest. I didn't quite understand some of the better attackers to throw in than I did, and kind of tweaked it, and I've continued to tweak it. So yeah, it's a fun deck. It has a lot of influence from Zach Kreckler's list that he used to get second at the EUIC. Man, where is my Registeel? I obviously don't want to bench Kartana because his ability won't go into play, and I don't want to use Cobalion yet because he's a late gamer. But we do have a Raichu deck. Should be interesting. And that's actually not good because Celesteela is weak to Psychic. So this should be interesting. And I don't know how much special energy they run other than like Electrode. So I'll probably dump the Kartana. I could go aggressive this turn if I wanted to. Instead of Brigiting, I can use both Ultra Balls to dump these two, and then Sycamore. Since I do play 4-ofs, it makes it pretty easy. I am surprised that he dumped the Experience Share for an Ultra Ball. Probably going to see a Bridget here. I am surprised that he's not using the 70 HP Pikachus. I mean, he may not have them. The other disadvantage that our deck has is they resist metal, but we do have Silvally who hits weakness. Ooh, and they play Zoroark as well. So great. So Silvally hits weakness on everything. So that's what we need to go for. Silvally's the goal. Perfect. Okay. Let's dump these. And great. We didn't prize any of them. That's awesome to see. Attach that DCE. I know it seems kind of odd to just dump everything, but like I said, those two cards aren't really necessary at this moment. And I'm not sure that Kartana will be, or even that Cobalion will be. We'll see. All right, so we have Fighting Memory. We have Ultra Ball to get Silvally next turn. And Metal Energy. So I think we're in a good spot. And they do actually play the 70 HP one. It just doesn't look like they have enough of them. That might be the issue. They're all over the place on the kind that they have. Alright, so we pop into a Raichu. So we can do 60 right now. Which is actually 120 to Celesteela. That's just nasty. Something to finally hit Celesteela for weakness. Man, you really messed up our hand. So it's 80. If he gets one more or a Choice Band, Celesteela is knocked out, which would really suck. Whew. Alright. So we get this Silvally. Oh, and that was a misplay. That's fine. We'll fix this. The reason it was a misplay, I should have Max Elixired onto Silvally before evolving it, because then he'd be ready to go for sure. I think I'm going to Sycamore. I don't need to use the Bridget. Don't need the Field Blower. I'm not going to stretch or anything. I don't plan on using those guys. Come on. Need to hit an energy. Alright, so we get something, and we get the Fighting Memory, which is great. And actually, so we don't put 2 DCEs on the same Pokemon, we can do this. Gosh dang it, and I messed up again. Oh, so stupid. I'll wake up, guys. I swear I will. Yeah, I have to do that. Gosh, that was dumb. I put the energy and the fighting memory on the wrong Pokemon. Just so now he's going to swing for 100. He's going to Guzma. He's probably going to take out Celesteela, which is fine. I'll let him get greedy with that. Yep. And actually, I can take out... well, dumped it. But I can still take out Zoroark with my GX attack, do that, and then take out Raichu the following turn. That's 4 prizes, and then take an easy knockout elsewhere. And if I actually get the fighting memory, I won't have to use my GX attack yet. So we'll promote Lele for now. And good Guzma. I want to Guzma, or I want to N and keep setting up and get rid of Zoroark. I think I N, because either way I take a knockout here, and I can save that Guzma for late game. And we do get the fighting memory, which is awesome. The problem is that's our only one right now, but that's okay because we can GX something completely off the board, and we can use the other one to just clean up the Raichu there. So we retreat, pop in the active, take a knockout. No energy to attach. So I know I'm not really showing off the metal side of this, but what I am trying to show you guys is that this deck isn't purely about the metal. And I think that's what a lot of people think it is that it's all about the metal taking down Silvally, but there's or taking down Gardevoir. But there's a reason we play the fighting memory, and that is so we can do things like hit for weakness against Raichu and Zoroark and things like that. So he's going to paralyze us, but we have a Sorola, so we're going to scoop it up. We're going to take a knockout with our other Silvally. Put him back up here. And then Choice Band is going to be helpful. Actually, next turn, no matter what, we can, well, yeah, no matter what, we can Lele for Guzma, bring up their Lele, attach Choice Band to our Silvally, retreat into Silvally, and take the knockout. Oh, don't end me to 2. Don't end me. Please don't. That's probably what he's going to do. Oh, no. Okay. He just sealed his fate. There's really like no way that he can beat us at this point, since he used up his GX attack. Yeah. Oh, now he's gonna try to hit with Lele. It's interesting. I guess he needs to with those max elixirs. And he actually just put him in place for us, so we can take the knockout. 230 damage. Not even necessary. Alright. Well, there you go. Silvally metal taking things down. Actually, Silvally. And like I said, I know the metal didn't really showcase itself much, but like I said, what's great about the deck is it's versatile. It has good matchups against certain things because of the diversity that Silvally brings to the table. So guys, real quick, before I close this out, what I'm going to do, since it was a little bit of a shorter video, I'm going to buy a pack because I could always use more. And I think we're going to go for Guardians Rising. Go for that Lele. And I think I have one on here from earlier when I was playing for, yep, just base set. So we'll try that one first. See what we get. Just a plain old Decidueye. Let's see what we get out of this one. And another gosh, every time I open those on the channel for you guys, they end up being Pangaros, but you know, that's fine. That's what you get when you open packs. But real quick, I'm going to throw this up on the screen for you guys. As usual, with every other time that I've profiled this list, if you enjoy it, take it, build it, make tweaks to it. Like I said, the fighting memory and the psychic memory, more so the psychic memory right now, is kind of optional depending on what you think your current meta is. And then, like I said, I would probably cut the Scizor and try out that Dhelmise in future testing. So I really hope you guys have enjoyed this video. As I said at the beginning, thank you so much for joining us, and thank you for being a part of the Deck Box, where we want to know what's in your box. Have a great night, guys.